No one sat beside her until the human engineer did. Without a word, Zaraketh had grown accustomed to the empty seats surrounding her in the massive cafeteria of Nexus Station. The other species, Velkari with their crystalline exoskeletons, Threnodi with their graceful tentacle appendages, even the stoic Gorvani, all found reasons to sit elsewhere. Tables that could accommodate 12 beings often held only 6 when she was present, the remaining chairs serving as an invisible barrier against the feared Zerathi. Her people's reputation preceded them across the galaxy. Zerathi were known for their psionic abilities, their capacity to read thoughts and emotions with disturbing accuracy. What the galaxy didn't understand was that this gift came with a terrible price. Constant bombardment of others' mental noise, an endless stream of fears, desires, and secrets that most Zerathi couldn't fully control or block out. Zaraketh stabbed at her nutrition cube with more force than necessary, the synthetic protein dissolving into an unappetizing paste. Around her, conversations continued in hushed tones, occasional glances thrown her way like daggers wrapped in curiosity. She had learned to ignore the whispered comments. Mind reader, thought thief, stay away from the Zerathi. The irony wasn't lost on her. She had joined the Galactic Engineering Corps specifically to escape the isolation of her homeworld, only to find that solitude followed her across the stars. Her technical expertise was unquestionable. Her modifications to the station's quantum field generators had increased efficiency by 37%, but expertise couldn't buy companionship. She was contemplating returning to her quarters, early when she sensed him approaching. Not through her psionic abilities, those she kept carefully suppressed in public, but through the subtle shift in atmospheric pressure that came with someone's approach. She didn't look up, expecting him to veer away like all the others. Instead, the chair directly across from her scraped against the metal floor as it was pulled back. Zaraketh's head snapped up in surprise. A human sat down, methodically unpacking, his meal tray with the same precision she'd observed him apply to his engineering schematics. Marcus Chen, if she remembered correctly from the crew manifests. Senior propulsion engineer recently transferred from Earth's colonial fleet. He didn't speak, didn't offer pleasantries or explanations. He simply began eating his meal, occasionally glancing at the data pad beside his tray. His mental signature, even through her suppressed abilities, radiated calm, not the nervous tension she'd grown accustomed to detecting from others in her presence. For several minutes, they ate in silence. Zaraketh found herself stealing glances at the human, trying to understand his motivation. His species was relatively new to galactic society, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 2 centuries ago. Perhaps he simply didn't know better. Perhaps no one had warned him about the mind-reading Zerathi, who might violate his mental privacy. Your solution to the resonance cascade in Section C was elegant, Marcus said suddenly, not looking up from his data pad. Most engineers would have tried to brute force the problem with additional dampeners. You addressed the root harmonic frequency instead. Zaraketh nearly choked on her nutrition cube. It was the first genuine professional compliment she'd received from a colleague in months. You studied my work? Of course. We're on the same engineering team. He finally looked up, meeting her six-eyed gaze without flinching. Though, I have to admit, I'm curious about your calculation methods. The mathematical progressions you used aren't in any of our standard databases. For the first time in weeks, Zaraketh felt her mandibles curve in what approximated a smile. Zerathi mathematical principles incorporate probability cascades that account for quantum uncertainty at a subatomic level. It's difficult to translate into standard galactic notation. Would you be willing to show me sometime? I think there might be applications for the new fusion core designs we're developing. The request caught her completely off guard. No one had ever asked to learn from her before. They were too busy avoiding her. You're not concerned about what I am? Marcus paused, setting down his eating utensil. You mean that you're Zarathi? That you might accidentally read my thoughts? He shrugged, a gesture that seemed uniquely human. Honestly, my thoughts aren't that interesting. Mostly engineering equations, terrible jokes, and wondering if the replicators will ever get the coffee right. Despite herself, Zaraketh let out a sound that was distinctly Zarathi laughter, a melodic trill that caused several nearby conversations to pause. The coffee is truly terrible, she agreed. See? We have common ground already. Marcus returned to his meal but continued talking. Back on Earth, we have a saying, don't judge a person until you've walked a mile in their shoes. I figure that applies to people with multiple eyes and chitinous exteriors, too. Over the following days, Marcus continued to sit with her. Others began to notice, whispering among themselves about the human who wasn't afraid of the mind reader. Some seemed scandalized, others appeared curious, but still maintained their distance. Zaraketh learned that Marcus had volunteered for assignment to Nexus Station, specifically because of its diverse crew composition. I wanted to work with the best minds in the galaxy, he explained during one of their conversations. Fear is just another engineering problem to be solved. Their professional collaboration flourished. Marcus's human intuition and tendency toward creative solutions complemented Zaraketh's mathematical precision and quantum-level understanding of matter-energy interactions. Their joint project, a revolutionary new hyperdrive configuration, began attracting attention from Station Command. But more importantly, Zaraketh had found something she hadn't experienced since leaving her homeworld: friendship. Marcus treated her not as a dangerous psychic anomaly, but as a colleague, a problem-solving partner, and eventually, simply as Zara. The breakthrough came during their third week of collaboration. They were working late in the engineering lab, surrounded by holographic displays and scattered circuit boards, when Zaraketh accidentally let her psionic barriers slip while concentrating on a particularly complex equation. Marcus's thoughts washed over her, not the fearful, guarded mental noise she was accustomed to, but genuine curiosity, professional admiration, and something else, a warm appreciation for her company that had nothing to do with her abilities or her species. She jerked back, barriers snapping into place. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... It's okay, Marcus said quietly. What did you sense? The honesty in his voice compelled her own. You're not afraid of me. You never were. Even now, knowing I accidentally read your thoughts, you're not afraid. Should I be? Zaraketh considered the question seriously. My people believe that fear is the natural response to having one's mental privacy invaded. It's why we're taught, from birth, to suppress our abilities around other species. But you can't turn it off completely, can you? When she shook her head, Marcus continued. That must be exhausting. Constantly filtering out everyone else's mental noise, always worried about accidentally intruding. For the first time, someone understood. Not just accepted, but truly understood the burden she carried. It is, she admitted. Marcus leaned back in his chair, studying the quantum field equations floating between them. You know what I think? I think the galaxy is missing out. Your abilities, combined with your engineering knowledge, could revolutionize how we approach complex problems, but everyone's too scared to get close enough to see it. And you're not? He grinned, and Zaraketh caught a brief flash of his thoughts before her barriers reasserted themselves. Finally, someone who can keep up with me. Humans have a saying, Marcus said. The best way to destroy fear is with understanding. Maybe it's time the galaxy learned that. As they returned to their work, Zaraketh realized that something fundamental had shifted. For the first time since joining the Galactic Engineering Corps, she wasn't sitting alone. And tomorrow, she suspected, she wouldn't be alone either. The human engineer had done more than share a table with her. He had shown the galaxy what was possible when fear was replaced with curiosity, when prejudice was overcome by partnership. In doing so, he had given her something far more valuable than companionship. He had given her hope that she finally belonged somewhere among the stars.